This is probably the most iconic hotel in the UAE and possibly the world. Let's go check out the water park. Amazing day. Get your tickets, platinumlist.net. Hey, it's Joe Mango here down in Ajman with the Quest for Adventure guys. They do some amazing kayaking tours through the mangroves, but also they do a little bit of wakeboarding as well, and hopefully I can do better than that guy. Wish me luck. So we've now come to the mangroves in Ajman and we're about to go do some kayaking. Absolutely amazing day down at the mangroves in Ajman. Elaine, thank you so much. Is that everything? We covered it all?
No, just one more thing.
Woo! Oh.
Hello, my name is Sharifa Yateem. I've completed my master's in psychology, concentrated on applied behavior analysis, and I'm also completing my PhD in inclusive education. Today, I would like to talk to you about inclusion of people with determination. In 2016, leaders of the UAE changed the formal word special needs to people of determination. And this is how the UAE has chosen to view the attributes of people with disabilities, a reflection of their strength of character, their perseverance, and their courage. What is inclusion? I'll start with, what is it not? Inclusion is not putting all people of determination into one classroom or one workplace or a specific special center. Inclusion is not feeling sorry for people of determination. Inclusion is not taking selfies with people of determination just to get more likes on your social media. I've noticed few factors that are overlooked that could create a barrier to inclusion. Let us look at that. One factor, the negative attitude that are portrayed towards people with differences or unique skills. The second factor, lack of belief or understanding towards that person. The third factor would focus on the physical and technological obstacles. And lastly, which is the most important factor, the lack of creativity in teaching and instruction. Inclusion is valuing and respecting all members of the community despite of their learning abilities. So it's not only about putting ramps. Inclusion is an attitude. Inclusion is giving opportunities and support in all aspects of life, such as recreational activities, jobs, schools, including ergonomics of the environment. A school culture promotes inclusion by encouraging flexible instructional strategies, building the skills of teachers on how they can adopt a universal teaching attitude or teaching skills. Create a peer support program to encourage the students to have a positive attitude towards their student or their peer with special needs. Thirdly, ensuring an ecosystem that the youth are growing alongside with students of determination in developing their social and life skills. It's so important to identify strengths and preferences that could fit their job tasks. Create a support service that would take in consideration the unique needs of your employee with special needs. And remember, a good manager will ensure their team is constantly developing their employees' individual professional development, including those of people of determination. I would like to send an important message to carry with you to ensure that you take a role in creating an inclusive environment. One, always remember, no one is too disabled to be part of their community. Secondly, celebrate everyone's uniqueness. Create a culture at home where differences are accepted. And lastly, always remember, everyone is special. Thank you so much. Now I will have a chat with few members of the community to discuss the current and related experiences regarding inclusion. Hi everyone, today I am really happy to be chit-chatting with Professor Iman Gad. She's the Dean of Professor of Special and Inclusive Education at the British University in Dubai. She's also as an affiliate lecturer at the University of Glasgow in UK. I also want to say great things that she's been doing. She has led the British University in Dubai's Special and Inclusive Master's and Doctorate program. She also co-founded one of the largest NGOs in UAE, the Emirates Down Syndrome Association. She has been advised policies and decision makers nationally and internationally in the field of inclusion. And she has been an amazing, great source and force in the field of inclusion in the UAE and internationally. Welcome, Professor Iman Gad. I am really happy to have you with us. So, as you know, like this short video, it is basically sending an important message to the world about what inclusion really is. So, first off, I want to ask you, what is inclusion in your perspective as a professor and non-professional? So what do you define in your perspective? What do you define inclusion in your perspective?
Well, hello, and thank you for inviting me. Secondly, we can sit here all day and talk about a definition of inclusion. Inclusion means different things to different people, but to me, it's basically the art of appreciation. You appreciate the ability. Once you appreciate the ability, before you appreciate the disability, I think we're in. And everybody has something that he is able to do. And once we appreciate that, you can use what is it that you are able to do in compensation. I wouldn't say compensation, maybe in supporting, may not be able to do that's inclusion. So simply, it's just the art of appreciation. This is my humble definition.
I love it. I love it because people think inclusion is physical inclusion, only physical inclusion. But I love that you mentioned appreciation, and this comes within, and it is all our responsibility as a community to appreciate one another. And I think what you said, it was beautiful, and really it resonates a lot with the community and the people that are advocating for inclusion. Um, so in your experience, that I would like to know, mashallah, you have a huge experience in the field of inclusion. You were really the stepping stone of inclusion in the country, so I'm sure you have so many stories that you can share with us, that led you to kind of go into this field. And what can we learn from you and from your experience within this journey that you went through and going through?
Well, going to the field was a total coincidence. I think it's fate. I'm actually a scientist by profession. I never saw myself cutting up animals for living because I just love animals. But it's interesting how fate throw you in your path. And I grew up next to a child with Down syndrome back in my native Egypt that I'm very proud of. But seeing that girl, and I wrote extensively, I have a whole chapter in my PhD about her, seeing her being overprotected, being excluded from society, being segregated, being marginalized. As a child, I always wondered why she's not in school. Why do we all every morning go to school and she would stand in the morning and just wave? She was a friend. And I was her gateway to life. I was her gateway to, so I'd come back from school and I would talk to her. She didn't talk well. She never had speech therapy. She was very protected, loved, but protected, I would say, in the wrong way. And at that time, I didn't know that much. I didn't know what I do now. And then when I worked in the UK as a science educator, basically, I'm a high school biology teacher, imagine. So I'm an educationist by profession. And then in between jobs, I was a supply teacher, which basically you go and fill in for somebody who's not here today or sick. And I found a school that is calling me. I went to the school as a very young, I think at the time I was probably 23. And I walked in and I found a wheelchair in the hallway and the crutches. And I'm like, what kind of school that is? And that was it. That is the day that changed my life, Sharifa, because I sat with them and I found myself bonded with them and I improvised. I never taught a child with special needs at the time. I was a high school biology teacher thinking about the malaria life cycle and thinking about, the digestive system. Teaching those kids was very, very different for me. And from that day, it changed my life. And I said, well, I'd like to be here. I kept calling the school to say, do you have a vacancy? Do you have something? Until they gave me a term. And then I just found my destiny and I never left. And then later on, as I grew in my career, several years later I would say, I think I was about 28 when I started my PhD. And I said, you know what? I'm just gonna do this for the rest of my life. I need to be their voice. I need to be their tongue. I need to represent them because I feel that once you are in a body that is not giving you wings, I think you need to find your wings. And I just wanted to be just a tiny little wing to support those people. So this is my story.
This is amazing, and I can't, imagine, that story. You really made me live that moment, yani, mashallah. And I am really, really, happy and proud. And inshallah, one day we can meet that person that inspired you to change your career. And it's really, really inspiring.
She hired a supply teacher. She never really meant to inspire me. She just, found maybe I was available. I was just looking for a job. It's very simple. But I think it's deep down, and growing up next to that girl, I started to reflect on how excluded and overprotected and barred and marginalized from the world. Why wasn't she in school? Why we all went, all the neighborhood, in Egypt we live in buildings. So all the neighborhood children from the building went to school every morning. And because she had Down syndrome, she never did. And there is no reason why she shouldn't. It's just God made her that way. She should have been. She understood everything. It just that the tongue was a little bit bigger. The nose was different, but so what? So I promised later on, once I learned what I learned later, that I will spend my life fighting to include them and to get them, I wouldn't say normalized, because normal is relative. Nobody's normal. I'm not normal. You're not normal. But I get them to be a step closer to live as independent as possible. to fit in. It's not about them and us, it's about everybody. Inclusion is about harmony. It's about cohesiveness. It's about everybody enjoy life and be appreciated for who he is.
I think you really hit the really important points when you say the word normal. It's very subjective, and it's basically man-made, you know, that word normal, because there isn't such thing as being normal. We all have an important part in this community, you know, and that is very important to kind of like look at some of the strategies and evidence-based practices in your research, how we can implement that science with the, you know, in kind of like in the community. And that meld is such an important point here. And I think that is kind of the lesson we're learning from you, is that, you know, the whole point of this talking about inclusion is, you know, having everyone's right to access education, health, you know, have a happy, independent life, have that opportunity like you had and I had, you know. So this is such a beautiful way of putting it together to let the people know that there isn't such a thing as normal, quote unquote.
We made it up to make ourselves comfortable. Society, I mean, my specific area is the social construction of people who are different and how this affected their education. And I've got, I wouldn't say 30 because I look very old, but, you know, many years of my life, 3 decades in my life, trying to figure out why I would put a label on somebody. Why? You know, fine, the nose is like that, that's fine. You're tall, you're short. It just amazed me how people talk about tolerance and appreciation, and sometimes they forget people who are mostly in need of it. You know, specifically if they can't express themselves, mental health included, mental illness included, being marginalized. Girls for so many years now suffered because they wanted a specific image. Now the people started to, I call it the awakening year. People started to be awakened now to say, hang on a minute, you can't put, you know, the girls under pressure, so, and then they get anorexia. It's exactly the same concept. It's exactly, you know, I think we just need to let it be. Seeing, for example, the other day, Mahmoud Jarour, he just got his Thanawiyya Amma, his GCSE. And looking at this little boy, I know him now for good, I would say good 16 years, knowing that, you know, trying to push him, and of course his family did an amazing job, to actually push him just to be in a normal mainstream kindergarten, while everybody else is saying, oh, can they come in? Can we do this? So I wrote extensively, and I guide my students about, before you start to even think about differences, let's start to think that we are all different in our own way. We are all beautiful in our own way. Let's appreciate and embrace diversity.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more on this sentence. Definitely, it's such an amazing thing to really mention. And I'd like you, if you don't mind, to share with me an inspirational dream of yours to help others to learn and grow a better kind of understanding of inclusion. You know, and I know that these days inclusion became like a fancy, a cool word, hashtag, you know, yeah. So people are kind of misunderstanding the whole point of this inclusion movement, or, you know, discussions. So what is some of the dreams that you think you can share with us to help better understand
what I would like to do really is, I would like people not to commercialize inclusion, because I've seen this happening in so many things, and then sometimes it backfires. What we don't want is people to have the children in the school because it's politically correct, or to have them because, oh, we just have those who are different, we care for them, and being nice. You're not being nice. I would like to adopt to the right-based approach. And the Emirates is an amazing example in adopting, you know, United Nations conventions on the rights of persons with disability. One look at the committee that represent people of determination, actually, it will tell you this is what we call people of determination. Inclusion in general, I just would like it to be taken on a wider level. Inclusion is not about a person with disability or without disability. Inclusion is not about a girl who is an orphan and lost one of her parents and suffered mental illness, and nobody understands why she's shy in the classroom. Inclusion is not about a person who is wearing too much or wearing too little. Inclusion really is all about just appreciation. I think what I would really like to see is to decommercialize this concept before it goes deep, because I've seen other concepts being commercialized and people just adopt it, and and what you call it, sing-song it, without actually knowing that it's a life-changing experience for somebody, Sharifa. It's, you know, you really need. So I always say to people, when you go to a restaurant and you see somebody different, I grew up on, oh, don't stare, don't look, you'll make them feel bad. No, it's okay to look at him as everybody else. So you don't overlook or underlook, just normalize the whole thing. You know, you have a friend who is, and I trust even Hollywood now started to, being again commercial, it started to really, since the movies, I Am Sam, and, you know, and Mercury Rising and all these things, you can actually see they shedding the light on people who are different, but they're still making commercial things out of it. What we want is basically is to just appreciate diversity, relax. I think I'm in that age, Sharifa, where I actually, you know, after years of being, you know, the young, arrogant advocate, now I say, you know, just to chill and relax and appreciate and embrace that everyone is different. So my dream is to de-commercialize the world, embrace those who work on it. I'm a teacher, I'm very biased, and I just take my hat off to any teacher who has a child with needs in the classroom. So just embrace it and enjoy it. And rather than looking at inclusion as something, oh, do I have to do this? Do I have to have reasonable adjustment in my work because of God knows what? Actually you do, because it's right. But on the top of this, that's a norm now. So let's adopt the normalization of inclusion and do away with commercializing inclusion.
I love the way you redefined normalization. I love it. Yes. You know, and that should be
the thing for Sharifa today.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Professor Iman Gat, for your time, and we learned so much with you in this short time period. And thank you so much again, and hopefully we will see you next time. And I can't wait to interview the rest of the community members to learn about what they know more about inclusion. Thank you so
very much for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I have Abdullah Zaabi with me today. And I want to tell you a quick brief about Abdullah, mashallah. He's a writer, and he's the founder and chairman of Yes to My Giving team. And he's also the member of the Advisory Council of People of Determination at the Ministry of Community Development. So we are so excited to have you, Abdullah, and thank you so much for accepting this invitation. So I just wanted to go into basically the topic on inclusion. And the whole point of this short video is to kind of talk about, you know, inclusion from different perspectives. So I have my perspective as a practitioner. I have also a professor that was part of this short video, and hearing someone of People of Determination to talk about from their perspective. So Abdullah, in your perspective, what is inclusion?
Yes. First, I am delighted to be part of this conversation about the inclusion. Yes, the term of inclusion is very important for people of determination or people with disabilities. Maybe some people they consider inclusion as a project or as an initiative to provide to help this people of determination to be part of the community. But actually, is not inclusion. It's a comprehensive concept, including a progressive development of behaviors, attitudes, systems, and beliefs, and all of this is enables people with disabilities to contribute and build an active community through effective participation in different fields without facing any barriers or obstacles that hinder their efforts and abilities.
So, Abdullah, in your perspective,
Yes.
inclusion is basically a form of allowing everyone to access all services in the society, in the community.
Yes, I believe inclusion is an important process to facilitating empowering students with disabilities in different fields such as education, careers, business, and social as well, society as well. And we cannot achieve this purpose of inclusion without making change in to reach success society.
Absolutely.
And absolutely, we need to raise awareness about the importance to understand the importance of the rights of people with disabilities. To have equal access to all different services in the community. For example, here in UAE, we are very proud of the efforts of significant efforts of the governments, organizations, and individuals to provide people with disabilities appropriate services. And if we cooperate together, and we can reach this success inclusion in the community.
And I love that what you mentioned is that the success of inclusion is not only a person of determination asking for their needs to be met. It's a changes from the politics, it's a change of attitudes within the community.
Yes.
How have you incorporated in your professional and non-professional lifestyle of changes in your environment to fit your needs, if that's clear? So basically, how did your community around you, or surrounded you, or the people around you, or the community around you, have helped you with the inclusion part?
Yes, well, professional lifestyle and non-professional lifestyle. Absolutely, I have different experience. For the professional lifestyle, I from I was a kid, my parents and my siblings, they support me and prepare me to not feel I am different from others, and they encourage me to be I have to have a successful life in the future. And when I joined the school, I studied hard to achieve my dreams and achieve my passion. And this and after I finished my high school, I tried to find some work to help me to recognize my abilities. So I see I have I developed my I developed my writing skills, and step by steps I become writer in one of amazing newspaper in the UAE, a royal newspaper, and they support me and they help me to become a writer as all writers they have. So this helped me to have a success professional lifestyle. On the other hand, non-professional lifestyle. Of course, in the past few decades, there is lack of services and, for example, assistive technologies that help people of disabilities to participate in different activities while they are not professional lifestyle. Yes, I also encountered several phases on my condition. I'm suffering from Duchenne muscular dystrophy, which is affect muscles, whole body muscles. There is many stages. Start with I am 6 years old. I lose my ability in walking. Then I start using a wheelchair. Then now I start using a ventilator from last 10 years. But this all of these cases is not to prevent me to adapt with all the challenges and changes.
This is so inspiring, Abdullah. And even though you do have a muscle disorder or condition, you still have, activities that you do. Do you what kind of activities do you do in your regular life as part of,
Uh,
the non-professional lifestyle?
Yes, most of my activities is reading, and I like to, to learn about agriculture, uh, how we plant different plants here in the UAE, and uh, uh, and all of this is what my hobbies to do. Uh, some activities are outdoor activities. Uh, I like to go to beach and I stay there, and this helped me to change my routine. So all of these activities uh, absolutely is help to increase the inclusion in the community.
That's amazing. And just for you to be out there in the community and take part with everyone in the society, in the community, that itself gives a huge message to the community to support the notion of inclusion. Um, I want to learn from you, from your experiences, if you would like to share with us, what are some of the barriers of inclusion within your life? Because inclusion in itself it has a long history,
Yes.
and the changes happen with generation to the next generation. So I'm sure there
Mhm.
were times where you remember, if only they understood, if only they know what I was going through, if only they can
Mhm.
change something in that experience. um, it would be
Yes.
great to hear from you your experience, whether it was a challenge and how did you deal with it, and what
Yes.
message would you let us learn from your experience?
Yes. Of course, inclusion is provide us an opportunity to integrate with community activities. Um, uh, I think I have two experience I want to share with you. And first, when I joined the college, uh, my life before is really different. I not participate in activities, and I not have uh, uh, enough friends, or I'm not getting with my friends. So after I joined the college, my life is completely changed. I I it's encouraged me to participate in more activities. Uh, I have uh, I have some lectures. I do it for the raise awareness of people with determinations, and I I start to uh, uh, have has friends, and we are gathering together. They are visiting me. I uh, and we gathering in different places. So all this all this experience is I think it's changed my life to have a better life, and it's absolutely is increased uh, the meaningful of the inclusion
I'm
and
so
support.
inspired, Abdullah, on your initiative, yes, to my giving team, and its name by itself, it's so positive, and
Uh,
I would love to learn more about it. Maybe in later on, you can give me the social media access
uh,
to it. I'd like you to share with me some inspirational dream of yours for the future generation, to help others learn and grow their understanding about inclusion and how they can come about to create an inclusive community or society. Your future dreams.
yes. Uh, I remember when I was start using ventilator. I stay in the hospital for 2 months in the ICU. So my life is suddenly collapsed for this attached with ventilator and then breathing through ventilator. But instead of feeling self-pity, I gathered my strength with supporting with, with all people uh, around me, such as especially my mother, my siblings, to be more inspiring for all and continue my life without feel any barriers. After this situation, uh, I joined the college in 2014. After after I stopped, after I graduated from higher school 2002, so uh, I did continue my higher education around 10 years or yes, 10 years. So I decided to continue my dream to and achieve my passion to studying.
Thank you so much, Abdullah.
Okay.
It was so inspiring to hear from you and how you were able to conquer all of these barriers and do something about the barriers that you faced in your community and kind of open the doors. You did open the doors, not just for you, but for many other people that they didn't know what to do. And you had this really simple idea of a yes to my giving team, and mashallah, universities now are accessible in the UAE, and
Yes.
your work placement that you go to work, they're also now accessible. As you said,
Yes,
the beach
absolutely.
that you're going to, the malls
Mm,
are all now accessible
yes.
for your needs. And
Yes.
hopefully we join your journey with you to make as much places accessible as
Mm,
possible so that everyone can enjoy life. This is the end of our talk. But mashallah, Abdullah, I am really, really inspired of everything that you just said and the journey and your family, how they're so supportive, and that is such an important basis, I think, when the support comes within the family surroundings, you kind of had the power and the self-confidence to conquer the other people around you. So that's really, really great. And I am really happy to have you join us. And good luck in your masters. I am really looking forward to see the great, awesome,
yes.
things that you do, and looking forward to it, really. MashaAllah, yani.
Okay.
Thank you so
Uh,
much.
okay.
How are you guys?
Fine, how are you?
We're good. I'm so proud. I just want to say that I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of Ahmed, of his great achievements. I'm so proud of you. I can't wait to see you a winner for Mars Shot as the first Emirati pianist. I am super excited. I saw the video, so I just want to say good luck, and I am really proud of you.
Really?
Thank you.
How do you know? Did you see me?
You
Yes,
are
I
so
saw
famous.
Instagram. Oh, yeah.
Ahmed, you became so famous with all this practice and hard work. We are so proud. So that's why I wanted to meet you on Zoom and meet mommy to talk about how did you guys do it? How long? How did this happen? And tell me, I want you to tell me how did this happen? What did you do?
Okay, you want me to tell her, Ahmed? Yeah. Okay. So, Ahmed, as you know, he's 10 years old. And since beginning, all the teachers, I mean, the therapist, they used to tell me before even he start talking, they are used to tell me he's having what is it? يعني musical ear. So I was searching for his talent because I knew that most of the autistic kids, as I read, they are talented on something. So I keep searching, but I couldn't. He went to swimming and he went to the basketballs and he went to football. But I've tried a lot of things. till that day, we have a small piano, and I saw him. He was just beating on the piano fingers, and that it was like almost maybe 4 years or 3 years ago. And then I told him, Ahmed, you want me to teach you some piano? And you know, I know that little song like Happy Birthday and small things. I used to play it with my only right hand. And he said, no, I want to play my own. And then I said, okay, fine. But I kept playing, but he was not even focusing or not giving me any attention. And the surprise was, second day, I entered home after my work. I saw someone playing Happy Birthday alone by himself. Wow.
Wow.
Just like, oh God, so you are the musician.
I'm the hero.
Yes, you are the hero.
You are.
So from time, it was not easy, of course, to find a teacher for him. After maybe the 30 or the 40 teachers I met, I started خلاص يعني maybe to give up, because most of them they used to come for 1 class, 2 class, and because they have no experience with the autism or how to deal with the autistic kids. So finally I found one teacher. Her name is Miss Vino. Thank you, Miss Vino, wherever you are now. And alhamdulillah, slowly, with the teacher and with so many of enforcement, we started playing the piano. And now, believe it or not, Ahmed can create his own music, and he's playing by his own. Whatever any song he will hear, he will play it. If he like it, he will play it.
Wow, please play me some. I love Disney songs. What Disney songs do you like to play?
Wait, and I also played I Am a Gummy Bear. It's a very nice song. It's very nice.
Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. Okay, let's show you. Okay, Ahmed, take the chair. It's okay.
First, I'll play I Am a Gummy Bear.
Yeah, let's play I Am a Gummy Bear. Again? It's okay, خلاص. It's okay, Sharifa?
Yeah, it's amazing. Wonderful.
It's not reactive. I know what to say.
Ahmed, I have to tell you something.
We continue.
We continued, sure. I hopefully one day when I meet you in person, we can get together and you teach me.
No,
Okay.
not don't get mom. It's not the It's okay.
Ahmed, I will put it all in the Instagram, then Miss Sharifa can see it. Okay, you play it all, and then Miss Sharifa will see it on the Instagram. What do you think? And the YouTube also. Fine.
Yes, a
Can
good
be.
idea. That's a good
Right.
idea.
And this song he played himself. Nobody teaches him at all. He just hear it, and without even a note.
Ahmed, تعرف, you know that I have few friends that are autism and they can also play piano. I would love you to meet with them one day so that you can meet them, and they all are pianists and they have also autism. So we are so proud of you that you're a special boy in every way. What do you want to tell the world? What message do you want to tell the world?
Ahmed, Miss Sharifa is asking you, what do you want to tell the world? You told me before you want to be the biggest pianist.
I want to be the artist, or I'm the artist also.
I'm to be the art. Yeah. all over the world, right?
Yeah.
And he want to play also piano in the big stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Yanni.
Yeah.
Oh, Yani. Very popular, Yani. Hopefully one day you can meet him also.
Yeah.
Support you. Iman, if it's okay, if we want to talk about inclusion,
Yes.
you know, and what it means.
Inclusion.
You know what's inclusion, Ahmed?
What does it look like?
What
See,
does it mean, Iman? That's a good.
That's inclusion, ya Ahmed.
Tricky.
Look, Ahmed, you remember before you was in the autism center, remember?
Yeah.
In Hamad Center, right? Yeah, and then later on you went to the school with Abdullah and Ali, with everybody else, right? So you was first in different school, and then you went to normal school with your brothers, right?
Yeah.
So this is what's inclusion.
You meet other people, you study with others, you go to work. Inshallah, when you grow up, you go to work like any other person that you can work and get your own salary one day.
Yes, of course.
Inclusion
Because
means
you know, Ahmed, what does autistic mean, Ahmed?
Autistic, smart.
So this is the meaning of autistic that he knows. That it's something nice, and it's okay everybody to know that you are autistic, because this is, you have to be proud of it, right? Yeah. This isn't okay.
Yeah, that's important.
Yes.
That
some people they used to tell me, why you are keep telling him that she should say that he is autistic, because I told him this is nothing to feel ashamed. He should be proud of it, and believe it or not, his brothers is feeling jealous about it. My Abdullah, right? Your brother Abdullah is younger than him. He's saying, I want to be autistic also, because Ahmed can play piano and I can't. Right, Ahmed?
He's jealous.
He's jealous. So, to take him from the autism center and to put him in the inclusion, it was very, very, very hard decisions, because the autism center, when I told him that I want to take Ahmed to be with his friends, his brothers, they told me this is a wrong steps, and Ahmed is still not ready for it. He stayed only like 3 years in the autism centers, and then I said, no, maybe this is the right time. Even that time, he was not even able to talk properly. But alhamdulillah, I didn't regret for this decision, because it was really, really good. You know, our kids used to copy everything they are seeing. And unfortunately, when he was going to the autism center, sometimes he's coming with the new behaviors. But when he went to the school, he started copying his siblings in this class, and it's mashallah, he has improved a lot, his social skills, and even he started talking and everything. Alhamdulillah, it wasn't a bad decision.
Yeah, that's a great decision. Do you like school, Ahmed? Or sometimes you like it, sometimes you don't?
I like it.
You like it? What's your favorite subject?
Okay, Ahmed, here. What is your subject for the nice?
Music and art.
Oh, artistic.
He's a drawing also. Ahmed is a drawing.
Oh, very nice. So you have a very nice artistic side that you can be one day a very popular, talented person, inshallah. And what was some of the, you mentioned some of the difficulties that you had, like to make this decision. Why was it? Yeah,
for the inclusion?
To be in a mainstream school.
Yeah, well, first of all, I was scared because I didn't know what is the reaction of the other kids, and we faced some bullying in the school. Alhamdulillah, it has been solved, but at that time it's broke me that like one incident happened. Ahmed one day he came from school, was very angry, and he's crying, and he started grabbing some paper and writing, Ahmed is a normal boy, Ahmed is not crazy. He kept writing, and then throwing the paper. I was trying to hold his hand and asking him, what's wrong? What happened? What happened? And he's telling, just saying, and he was crying and saying, Ahmed, it's a normal boy. Ahmed, not crazy. And then after that, I asked his shadows and the teachers in the schools there. They said, yeah, there was one boy told him that you're not normal like us. You're just crazy because you're having a shadow teachers with you. Yeah, so I start, of course, crying. And this is not acceptable. Alhamdulillah, the school was wide. They cooperated with me, and they talked to the boy, and he apologized about what happened. And then after that, the principal told me that, yeah, I know this is difficult, but it's not it's not perfect words, and Ahmed of course will face stuff like this, and we cannot let him live in pink words. He should know how to depend on himself in the right way. Alhamdulillah, فعلا, we start making we are acting at home with his brothers, that if someone comes trying to bully him, what he will react, what he will do, how he will depend on himself. Alhamdulillah, second time happened. He told them, stop bullying or I will tell the miss. And when they didn't stop, they were making fun of his drawing. He went to the miss and he said, Miss, this boy is bullying me and trying to make fun of me. And the miss punished him. Wait, Ahmed.
Who said?
It was a long time ago. It was almost 2 years ago.
That's a really good thing that that the school reacted quickly about this.
Yes.
And the fact that this experience taught him to know what to do, and you teaching him what to do if he faced bullying.
Yes.
And this is such an important thing. A lot of kids, they face bullying in school just because they have unique, special talents, and I think it's important that Ahmed knows that just because someone else is not happy of what you do doesn't mean that, that means you're always special, and doesn't mean that you should be sad. You always should be proud of what you do and who you are as a person. And this is very important. And Iman, mashallah, I am really proud. I can't even say how proud I am for the hard work that you put into, and kind of, keeping that support for your children, all of them, and you're never giving up, and there's always ways. It might not be the typical way that we're used to, but there's always different ways. It's never one way. Everyone has their own talents, everyone has their own dreams, and now more and more people are understanding inclusion. Inclusion is one thing, is not to bully people that are different. Accept others, are kind with the others, and inclusion is when you have friends that are, that they have unique, special skills, and everyone is happy about it, and everyone is accepting that. So that's what is inclusion. You becoming in a school, you're included with everyone else with your special talents. So that is amazing, and the school is doing fantastic with that.
Yeah.
From your experience, with regards to, sharing your journey from, I know you went through a long journey, and you're still going through another journey once he goes to high school, and then what is some of your dreams that you would like to share it? And I'm sure a lot of parents would resonate with it.
Well, actually, about my journey, I wrote a book, and inshallah it will be published next month.
Wow, mabruk!
Yeah. About our journey together. Inshallah, I'll send you a copy. Oh,
Let's do drawing. Let's do comics when I finish the meeting.
yeah, he liked to make comics also. Like, okay, when you finish, we'll make comics. Yeah,
Nice.
he'll make.
I love comics.
Yeah,
For sure.
he's
Oh,
a drawer.
Wow, Minecraft. So
Yeah,
nice.
what?
Cool.
منصدم عشان انت عرفتي الشخصيات.
Yeah, I love cartoons.
How do you know that this is him?
She knows.
No.
Because maybe she's watching cartoon. She's watching.
Even though I'm a big girl, but I still watch cartoon.
So, okay, about what is my dream? And you are asking about my dream. And والله my dream have no limits صراحة. You know, when Ahmed started to swim, also after trying to find someone يعني will accept to teach him. Alhamdulillah, I found one and he was amazing and he started to swim and ما شاء الله he swam and he won. هي أخذ المركز الأول he among UAE على autism. And then my friend was telling me, okay, finish. Now he knows how to swim. Why you want to take him again to swimming classes? I said, no. I want him, inshallah, to go in the competition all over the world, among the world. This is my dream for Ahmed. I want Ahmed to depend on himself totally, soon. I don't want one day to, يعني, someone, even if he's a brother or me or anyone, will support Ahmed. And this was the first thing I told I said to the autism center when he went there. I told him, put for me a plan to let Ahmed depend on himself for the next 5 years and the next 10 years and then next 25 years. I know maybe there will be difficulties, but I will go for it. So I started with Ahmed. I started in his career from now. Maybe if it's not the music, inshallah, we are starting with the computers. And he's, mashallah, is very, very, very amazing in the math. He's computer, mashallah. So hopefully one day, inshallah, he will be an independent guy and he get married to one girl he love. So this is my dream for Ahmed.
Ahmed, what is your dream?
To be the pianist boy and artist boy.
And to be the biggest pianist.
The biggest pianist and artist.
Nice. That's amazing. I love that dream, and I can't wait to
And all over the world.
All over the world, he's saying. All over the world.
That's amazing. I love that dream. That's a huge dream, and you need to work hard for it, right? You need to practice.
Wallah, yeah, Miss Sharifa, he's practicing all the time. Wallah, he's expressing even himself with the piano. If he's angry with me, I will see him that he's running to his room playing piano very hard and very tough and angry music.
Smarter.
Yeah. And when he's happy, you will see that, mashallah, very nice, soft songs coming from his hand, right?
That's amazing. So, in conclusion, what would you like to tell the world? What would you like to tell the world about inclusion and acceptance? What is the message that you want to say?
I don't know, but يعني I wish one day to see all the kids in the inclusion, what the real inclusions mean, not only like it's a word. I wish the schools to make like what's it called? دروس or what's called seminars or presentations for the kids before the teachers, to teach the kids about the inclusions, about how the acceptance. This is my dream. Yeah.
It's such an important part. It is the obligation of the schools the hospitals, the centers, the work placement. It is an obligation. It is an obligation that they have to create awareness, acceptance, tolerance, being creative, and helping everyone that is doing their best to live a happy and fulfilled life. So it shouldn't be the fact that just because you have a label, that means you can't access anything, and that shouldn't be the case. And so with an amazing role model as yourself, and like Ahmed, this will really change the world and how they look at autism, and how the world accepts and celebrate differences and uniqueness. So I want to thank you so much for meeting me online. Hopefully we will meet in person.
Inshallah.
Ahmed, I need to meet you and see the real live pianist.
Okay, see you inshallah.
Okay, see you inshallah.
Inshallah. And I will tell my friend that is autistic and he is also a pianist to meet up with you so you can learn from each other and have fun together.
Inshallah.
Right?
Inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Ahmed. Bye.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
I feel like I'm in a fog at the moment. Since we had the school break, everything's just sort of just gone blur.
Yeah, out of control. Out of control that we're not used to.
And like there's no routine, there's no schedule. Anyway, we'll get back to it.
What? It must be difficult for Sahil.
He is asking to go out all the time.
Yeah.
I always think, the irony of it is that when we used to go out a lot, he would always reach a certain limit where he'd be like, finished, time to go home. And now he's just constantly asking to go out. I think I knew out of every aspect of this, lockdown, the social aspect would be the hardest.
Yeah, definitely. That would be the hardest. And definitely, sticking to the routine and having opportunities to practice what they've learned. I think that was such like a difficult time for that. But I'm glad things are opening up again, and now much more choices that they can, choose from, and, Sahil can choose from.
Yeah.
So hopefully, things will go back on track. Let's start with inclusion in general. Like, in your perspective, what does inclusion mean to you as a mother?
I had to think long and hard about this, and I probably shouldn't have, but you live your life a certain way, and you often don't stop and think about these things. You're just living.
Yeah.
But I think for me, inclusion is about being a part of everyday life within the community. It's having a voice. It's to be seen as a person, a human being. It's not necessarily about the one-off family day, fun day, party events. And I think as parents, we understand that companies and departments, they like to throw these fun days and sort of feel as though that's inclusion. But for us, that's not inclusion. Inclusion would be companies and departments employing people of determination. So I think the bottom line is inclusion is it's about being a part of the community, but within everyday life.
Yeah, and I think that you pointed this out really clearly as a mother of a child, of a person with determination, that you just want an opportunity doesn't matter what label your child is, what kind of strengths does he have that can give value to the community, so this is really, really strong and really important. I was just curious to know, how did you have you incorporated any inclusion in your professional or non-professional lifestyle? And I learned that you're also an author of children's books, and I would love you to talk to me. How did you incorporate inclusion in your stories that you create?
So I decided to create a children's book series. What an amazing opportunity to be able to tell Sohail's story and to be able to reach a young audience and to be able to not only entertain but enlighten. Yeah. And to use the story, the children's book or the series, because it's now become a series, as a way to spread autism awareness and understanding. And I think the themes throughout the book series is that it's okay to be different. And it's important that we can feel like ourselves and be ourselves within our community. And I think for us as a family, when we get involved in community book reading events, it's a really nice way for the three of us to connect as a family, not only together, but within the community. And I think being able to sort of focus my personal energy into a creative endeavor was not only therapeutic for me, but as I said, it's a really good approach. It's a really good way to reach a really wide audience, because when I present a book reading at a community event, and obviously I run events at schools, book fairs, but the community events I find I get the most feedback, because often parents are with their children. And it's interesting because I often get the parents coming up afterwards and saying, "Oh, that's a really amazing story, and I've learned something from it. Thank you." And so I think it's nice to get that feedback. And I've had adults say to me, this is not necessarily just a children's book. It's not just a book for children. It could also be described as a children's book for adults.
Yeah, I would love to read the series of the books. Where can we get them? Where can we order them?
Either directly through my publisher in Dubai, Hood Publishing, or Magrudy's online. Trying to think where else. Actually, the Louvre gift shop. Louvre gift shop has the boutique at the Louvre has.
That's amazing. Oh, that's the book.
This is the book that started it all. Yes. Yeah.
And Michelle, you know what I love about this? You embedded culture, Emirati culture, Arabic culture, and that's so inspiring to see that you don't have just one message. It's a multi-message kids book, and as you said, it's also helpful for adults to understand culture differences and the essence of inclusion. If we break down inclusion, it's about acceptance. It's about being with a community that is a multicolor community, and it's not just a community for a specific looking person or a specific culture. And I love that in your series, which is, it's great to hear that that it had a lot of voice and echo in the community. It's amazing how you included inclusion as part of your writings, and that's really, really great. I want to learn from your experience how, or some of the experiences that you faced that taught you things about inclusion, that you're like, that's not being inclusive. And then how were you able to rectify it, or what did you learn from it that we can, as a community, can learn from?
I think one thing, and maybe, sorry, this jumps back to the previous question, or maybe it straddles both the previous and this question. Just in our personal lives, I think things that we've experienced as a family. Over the years, Sohail has been excluded from birthday parties, play dates, and I think people don't realize how hurtful this can be, not only for your child, but for us as parents too. And I think when people make the effort and they include your child in a social setting, I don't think they realize how much of an impact that has on us, a positive impact. You know, and also I think families should realize that they can learn a lot from inclusion. They and their children can learn a lot. They can learn empathy, understanding, caring, compassion. And all of this helps to create a more tolerant and understanding community, which is the type of community that we all want to live in. As you've mentioned, it's a multicultural community that we have here. And I think to be included, it's a powerful thing on an emotional level. And I think that's something that I personally would like to get across.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know if that answers your question.
Oh, absolutely. And this is important for maybe people unintentionally, Michelle, and correct me if I'm wrong, unintentionally might not include person with determination in a party or in a community outing, worrying that they will be hurt, worrying that they might be, you know, not wanting to go in a huge gathering. So that's important to have that message in the community, I think, is that the misunderstanding or misnotion of a child with autism not wanting to be in a gathering, just giving them that opportunity to be involved.
And it is all about opportunity, because I've seen it before. I've watched parents and they realize that Sahel may not interact on a social level the same way as his peers. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he doesn't want to be there, that he doesn't want to be a part of something, that he doesn't want to be included, because I know he does. We had this amazing experience once in a playground at a park in Abu Dhabi. This was a few years back. And typically when we take Sahel to a park or a playground, he plays on his own, or, you know, my husband and I interact with him. On this particular occasion, another boy walked over to Sahel and just started chatting away, including Sahel in, you know, it's like, hi, how are you? Do you want to come on the swing? Do you want to play with me? Let's go over here. What do you This young boy spent an hour engaging with Sahel, playing, and I think Sahel probably responded with a handful of words. It didn't bother the other child. And for us as parents, it was just, you know, it's just one of those moments that you want to encapsulate and you want to remember forever. Afterwards, I went over and I spoke with the parents and I said, you know, thank you. I thanked their child. I said, you have no idea how much this means to us and to our child. Quite emotional thinking about it. Yeah. And that to me was such a lovely example of inclusion.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't realize it might be a small gesture, but it's such a huge,
it's always little things. It does not have to be a grand gesture. Something so small as one other child coming over to engage and play with your child in a playground, that's a powerful thing.
Yeah, and I think going back to the importance of teaching acceptance in the home and raising the generation of understanding that it's okay if people are different than you.
Yes.
You know, and that they're unique. And I think your book states that very well, you know, the children's book.
Yes, in the first book we did, we appropriated or borrowed a phrase from Temple Grandin. It was an amazing...
Temple Grandin, just for people that they don't know, Temple Grandin is a huge advocate for people on the spectrum, and she is herself on the spectrum, and she's a professor at the University of Colorado, and she does great things and wrote many books about, you know, supporting individuals on the spectrum. I'm a big fan of her. I maybe have a few of her books with me here, but yeah, it's great. I'm really looking forward. Do you remember what the quote was?
Different, not less.
Yes.
And I think, I hope you don't mind, but
Not at all.
there's one part in the story, and this is where I use the quote, and at all reading event, it gets me quite emotional, because the character of Suhail finds a girl in the mountains who's lost.
Mm.
And she asks him a few questions about himself, because she notices that he is, different to her peers, her friends. And the boy responds with, well, she asks him if he feels lonely. And he says, I am always lonely. People don't understand me. Yes, I am different. I feel people's pain and happiness. Sometimes this is too much, and I cover my eyes or ears. People think this makes me strange. It makes me different to most of my family and friends, but it does not make me less. It makes me special.
I love it. I love it. It resonates with a lot of, families that I work with, or even, talk with, that this is exactly what the misunderstanding about autism is, that people think they don't like or they don't want. But as you said, they have, they have their own feelings, and they're different, and each kid on that spectrum is different in their own unique ways.
Yeah, and I think this is also the moment when you reach a young audience at this point in the story, where they all sort of sit there and go, oh, that aha moment. Mm-hmm. And then that leads into an amazing opportunity to be able to talk about that, expand on that topic. And, it is my hope that by doing this, that the message, in some little way, I can help and get that message across. And then this is a young generation that grows up with that mindset.
Yeah, absolutely. And tomorrow they're going to be leaders, managers, and they will open opportunities to be an inclusive, organization.
Yes.
So that is what was my next question, actually, your inspirational dream, and to help others to learn and grow on understanding inclusion. And what are some of your hopes that you would like to see kind of in the community in general, for the sake of all the kids, as well as Suhail when he's going to grow up?
Yes. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I had a hard time sort of thinking about my response to that question. And I know that for my husband and I, we do worry about the future. We're concerned about Suhail, what will happen to him when we're no longer around to care for him. It's something that does play on our minds. And I think it pushes both of us to make much more of an effort in the community to get this message across and it's no longer just about awareness, because we have a certain level of awareness. We now really, I think, need to focus on, the understanding, the acceptance, which then really leads to a more tolerant society and ultimately inclusion. And, my personal vision, my hopes, my dreams, I hope we become a better place to live. Globally, I hope humanity can be much more accepting. I think too often we're scared of something that's different. And it really is just, I think, a matter of education, of educating each other. Once you break down those barriers, I feel as though there's less stress, people are less concerned. They reach a certain level of understanding. And I hope that Suhail lives in, that his future is filled with happiness and acceptance. And I hope that he finds his place in this world. Sorry, it just makes me a little bit emotional to think about it. But obviously, as a parent, you have to think about the future as well.
Absolutely. And I think we need to do more. We need to do definitely more in the community and in the world globally. And, inclusion is a global issue here. Yeah. And it's something that, we need to put more effort in educating the HR departments, That's the number one. I think HR departments have a huge role in, you know, educating the staff, educating the managers, educating the community, you know, being flexible with interview strategies, you know, opening up, you know, different programs in school, in universities, in the work placements where, you know, it's okay that we don't, that the individual of determination doesn't have the skill, but they are able to learn and they can learn, you know. And that is some of the misunderstanding and misconceptions, is that they think, oh, he has a disability or whatever that is, then he's not able to learn like everyone else. But that's a myth, you know. And there's so many great examples that, hey, we, you know, a lot of people with determination didn't have that skill, and after a few support, you know, sessions and support from family, they were able to do it and ace it, you know. So
I mean, Sahel surprises me constantly. I think the biggest mistake that I ever made was underestimating Sahel. Yeah. And as I said, he constantly surprises me with his level of understanding, with his knowledge, with the amount of information that he retains. You mentioned something just before about, you know, the sort of the global issue. Yeah. And that's another thing that I actually wanted to bring up. You know, because as a family, we do everything together. And I often, you know, people will often say to me, oh, that's amazing. You know, you take Sahel everywhere you go. And I'm like, yeah, I'm often taken aback by the comment, because I think, well, Sahel is my child. We are a family. Why wouldn't we do everything together? And, you know, we travel, well, prior to coronavirus, we traveled quite a bit. And I think, you know, whether it's in the UAE or whether it's when we travel overseas, it's always a learning experience, not only for us as parents, it's also a learning experience for Sahel, and it's a learning experience for the people that we come in contact with.
Definitely.
And I think, you know, what better way to learn than through experiencing life? And it comes back to my initial comment. It's about being a part of everyday life. And we've had some incredible experiences when we've traveled, people who have reached out and have completely understood, you know, where Sahel's coming from. I remember once when we were in Poland, we visited a salt mine. It was located 130 meters below ground level. And it was a full day's journey just to get to the salt mine. You know, it was like 2.5 hours on a train, and then finding the tourism office, and then getting on a bus, then getting into a rickety old elevator, a steel and wooden elevator that was open air in a completely dark elevator shaft, jam-packed full of people. Then a tour of the salt mine. When we finished, one of the women in our group came up to me and she said, your son is amazing. He transitioned so well between every single phase of this journey. She said, oh, you know, I'm really, you know, I'm really impressed. And she said, you know, can you tell me more about him and what's going on? And I mean, obviously she had a certain level of understanding. But I always think, you know, whether it's within the local community or when you're traveling overseas, there are always opportunities for learning.
Absolutely. And it's great that people are more aware of some of the challenges of individuals on the spectrum that they may face, you know, especially with transitioning and changes of routines, you know, and crowded places. A lot of people, you know, think that they avoid it because they don't want to be part of it, but they're overwhelmed, and, you know, they might feel things that we might not, you know, understand how they're feeling like anyone else. I think it's important that we also see that everyone else they have their own kind of limits and, you know, their sensitivity issues, and it shouldn't be totally different seeing it from the perspective of an individual on the spectrum. But that's lovely to see that you have that experience of an inclusive society versus a non-inclusive society, you know, and having that experience in my perspective and listening to these stories really kind of helps a lot of the people in the community to put themselves in the family's shoes, you know, and therefore I'm sure a lot of people listening to us will now think about the next step, whether it's an inclusive step or not. And I think this is great to hear.
I think it can be a really difficult situation for families, especially when their child is first diagnosed.
Yeah.
Because you do go through a range of emotions. And I think even for us as a family, it took us a long time to be able to be out in the community. And I know we've got to probably wrap this up soon, but I have one final anecdote if you want to.
Of course.
Sometimes when Sahel gets excited or happy, he flaps his hands.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we're out and about in the community and, you know, I might say to Sahel, okay, you know, what would you like to do? And of course, he either asks for sparkling water or chocolate, camel milk chocolate in particular. You know, if I say, okay, let's go and do that. He's like, oh, so excited. And people might stare. And I think for some families, they might feel awkward about this. But from my own perspective, I have no problem. If Sahel, if that's how he wants to express himself, I always feel as though it's everyone around us needs to learn. They need to be educated. I'm not going to change Sahel's reaction. You know, that's him, that's his personality, that's part of who he is. I think we need to change the perception around our children.
Yeah, I think that you made that very beautifully, because one of the maybe a lot of people don't understand that a lot of individuals on the spectrum, they do have that involuntary repetitive behaviors that might look odd to the community, but to the family that they're living with, and they're used to it. Like, oh, he's happy today, you know, and it just feels amazing to see that he did do that involuntary, hand flapping, and it's like that today's going to be a good day, you know. So yeah. I think definitely I totally agree with you in that sense, and people are still getting used to it, I think, and it takes a while, I think, for them to recognize that it is something that they might not always control it, or, you know, sometimes, you know, people do have repetitive behaviors like biting nails, twirling their hair. You know, we all have some kind of repetitive behaviors. It's just that it might not be so different. But I love that about individuals with autism. Freely express yourself, you know, and I always say, we should learn from individuals on the spectrum, right? Like, to be themselves. And that's what's missing nowadays with a lot of people faking things. And it's just beautiful to see and learn from individuals on the spectrum that, I don't care. I can be happy if I need to be happy.
Yeah, exactly right. They are free to be themselves. And I think, you know, sometimes if someone wants to come and ask me a question as well in the community, I'm actually happy to answer any questions. And, I'm all for that, because, you know, the more people want to learn, I think it's like a ripple effect. If one person comes and asks you, oh, I hope you don't mind, can you explain to me what's going on? And I'll give them an explanation, and they'll be like, oh, okay, all right, fair enough. Now I understand, thank you. Then that person can at least help explain the situation to another person. But I know I have to say that in general, more often than not, I have people come up and say to me, my nephew is exactly like your son, you know, or, you know, my sister's best friend, you know, her daughter. And I think we are starting to get the message across. I really do. And I hope so, because we do need a much more positive future for all of our children, all people with determination.
Michelle, like, I would never get bored from our talk, because it's just lovely to be talking to you as a mom, you know, and listening to all this amazing experience, and me as a, you know, practitioner. listening to the voices of the individuals themselves is such an important part of any program, as well as understanding the family dynamic, which is also such a crucial step. A lot of centers also and schools don't take that into consideration. And I think this is so important if we would like to reach inclusion, is to ask the person with determination or the support system that that person has, to include them as best as possible for their own sake, instead of just figuring it out by themselves. And I think that's important, to have an inclusive society or environment for the child himself, with the needs and strengths of that child. Thank you so much, Michelle. And I know that you have to run, but it was lovely seeing you in this crazy time. And it was lovely to see you in Zoom. And hopefully we get to meet Suhail and get to come to one of your readings in the community.
As you have witnessed the different perspective of inclusion, it is our responsibility to continue the movement of an inclusive community. So the take-home points that I would like us to carry today is, always remember, no one is too disabled to be part of the community. And remember, learn to celebrate uniqueness. I welcome and encourage for you to reach out to me to have a discussion about your current activities and challenges, whether you're a parent or an educator or an employer or even an employee, to further develop your skills in understanding and promoting inclusion in your community. And remember, you and everyone is special.